Burnout is not a badge of honor. Burnout is the technical failure of your most important piece of gear, your mind. By prioritizing strategic rest, you transform your creative process from a chaotic grind into a high-performance career strategy. Today, you're going to learn why the world's most successful musicians are logging off early on purpose to ensure that they can stay at the top of the game for years to come, and not just for one viral quarter or release season. Today, we're pulling out the data. Real numbers, real biometrics, the exact instrument top performers are using to stop guessing and start assessing. If you are all in on this podcast, this is the episode you send to the creator in your circle who thinks sleep is optional. Let's get into it. All right, here's the shift. Elite performers are not managing their schedule anymore. They're managing their nervous system, and they're doing it with data, the same way an athlete manages load. The tool most of them are using is Whoop. And here is how the math actually works, because the math is the whole point. Whoop scores daily strain on a 0 to 21 scale. Here's the part that almost nobody understands. That scale is logarithmic, not linear. That means going from 0 to 10 strain is relatively easy. A moderate session could get you there. It's like it hockey sticks, though, after 10. Going from 10 to 17 takes some serious effort. Going from 17 to 21 is nearly impossible in a single session. In fact, running a full marathon might push a day strain to around 20.4. And then trying to run a second marathon that same day would only nudge it up to roughly 20.6. Translate that to creative work. A brutal editing session. Maybe heated brand negotiation or doom scrolling away through the comments after a bad lunch. All of that registers as real physiological load, and it compounds the same way physical training does. Regular daily activities like work, commuting, and parenting, all of these things, they cause strain. And so does stress, anxiety, excitement. Even being a fan watching your own numbers climb is strenuous on the body, believe it or not. If you need more of that, I did an episode talking about the 6 zones of stress. I'll make sure I link that down below here. Over here, we got strain. Over here, we got recovery. Whoop expresses recovery on a 0 to 100 scale, and then groups it into a red, yellow, and green bands to make the signal easier to read. Red covers 0 to 33. Yellow covers 34 to 66. And then green covers 67 all the way up to 100. And here is the nuance that separates amateurs from professionals. A 66 and a 67 do not represent two different bodies. They are neighboring points on the same readiness curve. This is precision instrument thinking. You're not asking, do I feel tired? You're asking, what is my body's actual readiness to absorb load today? And you're letting the data answer instead of your ego. Now, there is no universally good strain score. The right target on any given day depends on your recovery status and your training phase and your long-term goals. A light output day after a brutal launch week is not weakness. It's a strategy. And here is where the nerdy stats get genuinely wild. Sleep is not one uniform block. It cycles through stages, and each stage does a completely different job for your creative brain. Slow wave sleep, the deepest physical stage, is where your brain consolidates hard facts, stabilizes what you learned, and locks in precise details. Then, REM sleep, later in the night, takes over a different job entirely. Pattern breaking, remote association, kind of loose, wild connection making that produces an actual creative breakthrough. In one landmark study on this exact mechanism, only the participants who entered REM sleep during a nap showed a 40% improvement on a creative problem-solving test afterward. That's crazy. 40%. One nap from one sleep stage doing its job uninterrupted. Think about that. And it gets more specific for storytellers. Research shows REM sleep duration is positively associated with schema-conformant memory, consolidation, and creative problem solving. Translation for people wondering what those big words were. If you, I know, right? If you are trying to weave a long form narrative, think of like connecting a theme across an entire album, something like that. Or something like solving a structural problem in songwriting lyrics or something like that. REM is the stage that does all the heavy lifting behind the scenes while you're asleep and taking zero credit for it. Nice guy, right? Meanwhile, slow wave sleep, SWS, is running its own protocol. During SWS, the brain cleans up after the day, consolidating important memories and discarding all the noise, clearing mental clutter so inspiration can come more easily. In a separate controlled experiment on problem solving specifically, 62% of subjects who slept solved a previously unsolved challenge, compared to only 24% of the subjects who stayed awake. And subjects with more slow wave sleep had an even higher chance of cracking it. Read those numbers again. Listen back if you're driving. But think about that for a sec. A creator who protects a full night of sleep is not being soft. They're not being 10-ply. That creator is statistically measurably more likely to solve the problem sitting on their desk right now than the one who stayed up grinding on it. So hopefully, if that doesn't change your habits, I don't know. The other thing is you're not losing studio time by sleeping. You're outsourcing the hardest part of the job to the most powerful processor that you own. So like I said, if this doesn't change your mind and change your habits, I don't know if anything. Data means nothing without a protocol, and this is the piece most creators skip entirely. Creators, musicians, artists, whatever. Elite performers do not slide into sleep. They signal to the brain, deliberately and repeatedly, that the performance window is closed. That signal is called Shutdown Ritual, and it is non-negotiable. Here is the build, and you can steal this exactly. 30 minutes before your target sleep window, screens go dark. No feeds, no comment sections, no checking the numbers one more time. The stimulation has to stop, and the brain has to get the message that the day's inputs are finished. Replace it with something low and analog. Read a few pages of a book. Stretch. Write 3 lines down in a notebook. The goal is dropping your physiological arousal low enough that your body can transition cleanly into that first slow wave cycle, the one doing the heaviest consolidation work of the whole night. And you gotta keep the timing consistent. That's a big area where people are just all over. They go to bed at 2 o'clock, they'll go to bed at 10 o'clock, they'll go to bed at 4 o'clock. Night after night, we gotta keep it consistent. A stable rhythm reinforces your circadian clock, ensuring you regularly reach both REM and deep sleep stages, which means more time in the exact stages that power creative thinking. That is the whole ritual. Close the window, dim the input, protect the cycle every single night. Treated with the same seriousness as your creative work itself, because it is your creative work. It is just the half of the job that nobody actually put in the playbook. So here's the through line for today. Strain and recovery are not soft concepts. They are measurable, they're trackable, and they respond directly to how you train and how you rest. The same as any athlete's body does. Deep sleep and REM sleep are not downtime. They are 2 separate departments in your creative operation, each running a specific job while you are unconscious and taking zero credit. And the shutdown ritual, that is the bridge between the 2. The deliberate signal that turns your day's grind into tomorrow's breakthrough or breakthroughs, hopefully. So stop treating your mind like a disposable battery that you can replace when it dies or whatever. Start treating it like the precision instrument it actually is and start tracking it like one. That is the precision instrument protocol. And